start off with like an introduction. Like this is Dropship Chicago. We started a few months ago. Myself, Joe over there, my man Joe, and Manny, he actually had the flu. Missed this most awesome event, so he must feel really sick to miss this event. So, back towards the end of May, beforehand we've been working on e-commerce and dropshipping stuff like that, and just like, man, just like in technology, I mean, there's a meetup group or there's something for a community to gather, and we were wondering what could you do in e-commerce? Where is that? It wasn't here. And so we decided to put it together, and it's just been really awesome since then. Now growing to, I think now up to this point, I guess 180 members within a few months, which is really cool. But my story, just to kind of introduce myself to you, as you may not know, I've been in technology since the dot-com boom, and I still stay on the edge today. So on the technical side, I do run over a $10 million spend of a project in 2 enterprise projects on the edge, AWS, Google Cloud. So I do love tech. I do love e-commerce. I love proving it out. And so I started this podcast called Tech Money Talks that talks about all the money-making opportunities that technology can bring. But long story short, basically towards the beginning of the year, I got this endorsement from Player FM that basically said, hey, Tech Money Talks is the podcast to watch out for 2019, #1 podcast. And I was like, whoa, in dropshipping. I was like, I didn't even focus on it 100% of the time. And I was like, well, let me focus on it and just kind of run with that endorsement. And sure enough, things just started exploding exponentially to the point where the type of guests that I interviewed, like Sean and like the panelists here and the virtual panelists that are going to attend shortly, has just been taken off. And they've been motivating me more to the point where, okay, I got to build more of my numbers up as far as online business goes, not just, focus on the tech side. But it's been really awesome. Even up to recently, a couple of weeks ago, now officially sponsored by Spotify. About 10 months ago, I think I was trying to get onto the platform. They denied me the first time and accepted me the second time, and now they're sponsoring the show. So you can see how things are really taking off. But with this group, we put this together, and long story short, Sean and I were connected on the podcast last week, and like the other guests, I say, hey, if you're ever in Chicago, let me know. We'd like to host you here, be a part of the group. And Sean's like, I'm going to be here next week. I'm going to be here next week, bro. And I was just like, really? I was like, well, let's do it. I mean, we're like, let's do it. And sure enough, this came together within, a few days? 2 days. 2 days, so I think it's been really awesome. So, and we can see, basically sold out all the seats, and I think it'll be standing room only in the back for the people that come, but it's just really awesome. So that's kind of the whole history of the group. So we started Dropship Chicago as a meetup group. But yeah, so what we're going to do here, just to give a quick format, we're gonna have our panelists give an introduction to themselves, and then we'll lead into some questions. It's a really important day today, if you didn't know, October 1st, the first day of Q4, and we're going to run with that theme. For anybody that's in e-commerce that knows, they're already thinking, they should have already been preparing for Black Friday. They should have already been building things up. And what they're going to touch on is what you should be doing if you were just ready to get started. Like, actually, let's get a show of hands. Like, who's actually, doing e-commerce and Shopify stores, dropshipping, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we got maybe, it seems like about half the group. Okay, so the other half was just like, interested and like, trying to figure this thing out. And that's rightfully so. So, I mean, like I said, when we started the group, there was about a third that were living that laptop lifestyle, a third that were side hustlers, and a third that were just wanting to figure out what this thing is. Outside looking in, and if you listen to the podcast, I ask every one of them, people outside looking in, they see they're producing these millions of dollars within a short period of time relative to the average person. It seems like a get-rich-quick scheme. And when I asked them, it was just like, it's the furthest from the truth. I mean, they worked and treated it like a business, and you guys should do the same. And I think being a part of 1871 and however you found this event, You guys are most likely doing that in your own right or your own career, and it's the same thing in this business. The thing that's really cool is that the opportunity is just so great that for those that treat it like a business, the reward is just like really powerful. So we're going to touch on that today. Did I miss anything? No? Really good stuff. I hope you guys are excited. So it's good to know that, you know, half the group. Is the music too loud, or can you guys lower it a little bit? Okay, you can lower it. Cool. Well, all right. So yeah, I mean, we put this together within a few days, and you know, we had the agenda that we want to put together. But I'll say we'll let you guys introduce yourselves to the audience. I'm pretty sure they've read about you, but I'm sure they'd like to hear a quick version of your story, how you got started in the e-commerce. Who would like to go first?
Yes, sir. All right. How are you guys?
Hi.
Good.
I'm Georgia Klein. I live across the street. I came out here a couple days ago because Sean was like, hey, do you want to speak at this event? So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll come out. I kind of got started in entrepreneurship very early on. And I've kind of always had the idea of, well, maybe it was because of ego or something, but I didn't want to work for someone else. I wanted to create my own destiny. And if I was going to fail, then I was going to blame myself. But I didn't want to be in a position where I was going to blame someone else for my success or my failure. And so, right out of high school, I was like, I know exactly what I want to do, which is I'm going to go to California, I'm going to stay, I'm going to find a school like Stanford, I'm going to stay outside of Stanford, I'm going to live with people who go to Stanford, and I'm going to get connected to that community and put myself in good positions. And that was my whole idea behind everything, and everything that I kind of dispense upon people that learn from me is simply put yourself in good positions, because you can't expect that you're going to get to where you want to be by being in environments that are not conducive for that. You can't expect to be a good tennis player by playing baseball. You can't expect to be really successful if you're not around the right environment. So by being here, you guys are putting yourself in positions where you're putting yourself in the right position to be successful. And so right out of college, right out of high school, I won this full scholarship to go to college. And at that point, it was really great, but also it kind of delayed the kind of entrepreneurial drive of like putting myself in positions all on my own. And when I went to college that first year, I was very stagnant. I didn't really have a drive or a purpose on what exactly I wanted to do, and I didn't really have, you know, a lot of time pressure on me to say like I need to do something or I'm going to be on the streets. I had a lot of comfortability. But towards the second year, I started getting in that groove again of like thinking about, okay, well, I have 3 years left. I got to make the most of it. So I was like, all right, how do I make money online? And so one of my first kind of ideas I had was I'm going to drop ship posters. This was like 6 years ago now. Drop ship posters for big Instagrammers. So these big Instagram photographers would have these huge pages with amazing kind of photography. So I was like, oh, I found this, you know, American supplier that you can put the picture on, and you can have this amazing poster, and there's a huge margin spread there. So there was this website called Teespring that they did the same thing for t-shirts, and you can see the kind of counter of how many people bought that shirt to support the cause. And so I said I'm going to do the same thing, but for posters and for Instagram artists. And I had this huge collection of these, you know, million-follower Instagram people that were, you know, signed up and ready to do this. And when we launched, it just kind of flatlined, and no one wanted it. Like these million-follower Instagram people posted on their page, like, "Hey, you can buy my poster right here," but no one wanted that. And that was a position where it simply didn't work. It was not a conducive environment for it to work. So instead of like kind of, I'm gonna make this work, I'm gonna figure it out, I had the approach of just quit early and go into a new opportunity. I had nothing to risk. I didn't have like huge baggage. I didn't have a huge kind of company weighing me down. I could really iterate on things and figure out the next step, which that didn't work out, so I just quit early. The second thing was Amazon. And so this was the time when Merch by Amazon just came out. And I was on there the first day, because every single day I'm always scouring the new opportunities. And so that first night, I posted a couple different, so Merch by Amazon was simply, you get a logo, you upload it to Amazon, Amazon puts it on the t-shirt, and then they handle everything for you. And so that first night, I put a couple logos on there. I was like, oh, let's just see how this does. I woke up the next day, 4 shirts sold, and I made $47. And so at that point, I was like, this is a good opportunity. And so I just hammered out that opportunity. And so very quickly, I started doing a couple $1,000s a day. And at that point, I was like, I made it, I figured it out. But sure enough, that opportunity kind of fizzled out. And then I got into Etsy, and then I got to Amazon, the true Amazon, selling products on Amazon. And then I was always continually searching for the next opportunity to get to the next level of things. So I said, okay, I accomplished this goal, I've got to get to the next goal. And the next goal I felt was Shopify. So I was doing Shopify for like a couple years at that point, but never really kind of figured it out. And I went to this mastermind called Mike and Mac's $1 Million Month. And so there was these 2 guys who, they just started, and then 2 months later, they did $1 million a month. And I was like, oh, I should probably learn from them. And so whether or not they knew exactly what they were talking about is another story in and of itself. Okay? The point of the matter was, they accomplished something that I wanted to accomplish. And so I said, I don't really care about anything else. I just care about learning from this particular advice. And that's my whole mantra. It's like, you don't have to, oh, I don't like how that person is. I don't like that about them. It doesn't matter. What matters is, what do you want to accomplish? What is your personal goal? Is it to make $100 a day? Is it to make enough money to support your family? Is it enough money to just travel with the goal and follow them? That's it. Whatever your goal is, don't ask, well, how did you do it? What did you do? Why are you asking me? You should ask yourself. And the main thing I want to kind of share with you guys is, ask yourself, what is it you want to accomplish? For some people here, like my brother in the back over there, who helped me, start the last company that we did from 0 to $10 million in 1 year, his goal was like, okay, well, George, I know how to work for you and kind of do this stuff, but I want my own thing. That's his goal. His goal is, I want to make $500 on my own. For your goal is I want to make enough money to transition from, working this job towards making this my full-time profession, and then I'll figure out what I want to do. I can't even think about what I want to do. I just need to get out of this position right here. For some of you, I already have my own dropshipping thing. I want to get to the next level. And only learn from people who have the advice on how to get to the next level. And so, fast forward, I did learn from Mac and Mike, and then 2 months later, I did my first $100,000 a month. I kind of did okay in Shopify, couldn't really get it. And they just had this simple formula, do this, this, this. And I was like, do this, this, this. Shut the fuck up, do this, this, this. And keep trying on this, this, this into different products, and one hit. And then when that one hit, oh, this strategy worked. And so I knew the strategy worked because they showed that it just worked. It's not like this thing just changed. They showed that this works, so I knew I just gotta keep doing this, and it will work. This path does work to get to the next level. And then once I passed that level in 2016, going to the next level was all right, well, I want to do $1 million a month. I did that, and then I was like, well, I'm not satisfied, so I gotta figure out my own product. And that was the company I started, last year, which is Lux Mobile, which is an iPhone battery case company. And then now, this last year, I said, well, okay, I'm not satisfied. I wanted to start a software company, but I didn't follow my own advice. I didn't listen to the people who kind of knew exactly what they were doing in software, and I put myself in positions that, for one of the first times I failed without my goal wasn't to fail. My goal wasn't to keep trying and fail. My goal was I'm going to succeed, and so that made it very hard to be I don't know. So the next level for me is how do I continue growing what I already have, which is what I know I'm really good at, and grow from there instead of trying to skip bases now. It's kind of how to grow a more sustainable, long-term foundation on things that I really like. And so what I'm here to teach you guys is I want you guys to ask better questions for yourself. questions that make sense for you. I can give you answers on a lot of different questions, but they'll just simply steer you in incorrect ways. If you want to ask me, well, how do you make $10 million a year? Well, why are you even asking me that question? You should be asking me questions that relate to where you are in your life and how do you get to the next level. Because simply asking me how to get here, I say that you can't even get here before passing these kind of milestones. You can't get, no one gets to certain levels without passing these different milestones. And so I would focus on getting to each next step.
Really awesome. Yeah.
My name is Ramzey Nassar. I'm a serial technology and digital marketing entrepreneur. I started my first business doing Amazon and eBay arbitraging when I was 17. My dad had grocery stores and different stores that he would wholesale products from China and downtown New York and stuff like that. So I would take his excess inventory and flip it online. He didn't know about it, but I was just pocketing cash. And then eventually I was wow, I'm getting really good at this. Went to college at DePaul University in the entrepreneurship program, and was really fascinated with apparel and fashion for some reason. My sister had worked at Macy's as a buyer in corporate buying and stuff like that, and I found it really fascinating. So my friend and I put I'm Middle Eastern, I'm Jordanian, and we put a funny slogan on a t-shirt. That's my boy right there, he's Lebanese. And we put it on a t-shirt, and actually didn't even sell it online. This was in 2010, by the way. So I've been in this game for, I guess, almost 10 years now. In e-commerce, I've had many successes and many failures. I can briefly walk through that, but essentially, I started this t-shirt website, and I went to different trade shows and was flipping them and selling them in person at relevant niche-based kind of trade shows. And then I built a website. This was before Shopify and anything actually existed. You have to hard code a website. From there, I built that company. It was called HabibTees.com. It was a Middle Eastern-inspired clothing line. I built it to $250,000 my sophomore year in college through influencer marketing. I basically pay influencers and give them cuts of sales if they posted it. So FouseyTube and some of these other YouTubers were promoting my merch. And at some point, when you're a sophomore in college and all your friends are partying and doing all that stuff, I was shipping shirts after class and stuff like that. So my dorm room was just they know how it is, these guys right here, but my dorm room was just stacked with inventory, and it was ridiculous. And I was there has to be a fucking better way to do this. So I ideated this software platform, basically after I realized there was other people that had the same problem as me, which was scaling the supply chain aspect of building a merchandise brand. I ideated this platform my senior year in college called Thread Me Up. So that basically wanted to empower guys like George, when you started, when you found out about Teespring and merch by Amazon and stuff like that, and was basically enabling tens of thousands of users over the course of 2 years. And I built a multi-sided marketplace where there was vendors and suppliers, and then sellers and brand owners, influencers, charities, things like that wanted to sell merch without ever having the inventory risk. So I built that up in college. I learned a lot. I built it to upwards of $20 million in 2 years, from my college apartment to our first office, second office, third office. I had 40 employees at some point. And that was a big learning lesson, going from zero to, I'm sure you guys both know the pain points of scaling the supply chain aspect of a company like that. And it got really intense, and I had 20 software developers on staff. I was paying hundreds of thousands of dollars almost a month in salaries and things like that. And I minted 8 millionaires. Eight people made $1 million on the platform. I basically grew myself almost out of business. There's a saying in startups or whatever called growing, gone. And so I had to basically compartmentalize that software and sell it off. And then a year later, there's a lot more behind that story, but a year later, my CTO, my Chief Technology Officer, and I learned from our mistakes and our successes, and then built another software platform, and within a year sold it to a private manufacturing facility out in Texas. So within a year, I had an exit under my belt of that company, or of a new startup technically. And after that, I was like, what am I going to do now? I made some money, and one core principle about me is I want to make an impact. I like making money and supporting people and things like that, but I really want to help people make and earn their way in life through online, internet-based businesses. So we started building our own direct-to-consumer brands. Like one of them is called memesforjesus.com. It's a 7-figure brand, and we only do print on demand in the United States, which is like what we're keen on and what we're pretty big on. Slowly after that, we built several other brands that all were doing, anywhere from 7 to multi-7 figures. One of them was Corp Chicago, that Nick and I's partner. Actually, we got acquired this past year. And people were like, how do you keep doing this? Like, how do you keep, building these fast companies from scratch almost? And, I feel like a lot of this content that exists on the internet nowadays says like, it's easy to do it, and like, it's actually not easy to do it. You have to treat it as if it was a real business. With persistence, I think it'll happen. There's a lot more behind that statement. But long story short, there were so many people coming to us asking us to help them with their paid ads, because that's what we were, experts on, as well as supply chain and sourcing, and just building the overall business. I'm a big proponent of learning from people who have been there and done that, who shared experience. I've been mentored by the guys who started Grubhub.com, the Groupon guys, Outer Wall that owns Redbox and Coinstar. And that I learned from people who are far more successful than I am, and that's that's how I think I've been able to do well in life so far. So fast forward up until now, I founded this company called Prolific Media. We're a direct response advertising agency focused on direct-to-consumer e-commerce companies. My partner Nick's sitting right here. He's our COO, and we run Jersey Champs, Facebook ads, Google ads. We're going to get them on Snapchat here pretty soon as well. And then we also work, I don't know if you guys know who Akira is in Chicago, but we run their e-commerce and direct response campaigns. And we manage, I don't know how many, 55 different clients. We started it about a year ago. We're one of the fastest growing agencies in the country. And also operate our own internal brand still. And I think one thing that I've learned is fail fast and fail often. And people say that a lot, but people don't practice it. So put that in motion. And the e-commerce game, there's a lot of ebbs and flows, from Fortune 100 companies, those $100 million brands that we've worked with and we work with, to the startups that are doing nothing, or that are doing $500,000 a month, or whatever it is, or a year. It's persistence, and it's getting through that mindset of, hey, if this doesn't work in month one, iterate and pivot and always be progressing. And I think George said something good here about, there's a lot of noise on the internet that I've noticed, a lot of gurus and a lot of bullshitters that talk a lot of talk. People listen to 100 different people at one time and different content.
I would say that there's power in the patterns. So George and Ramzey both describing, as they're telling their story and their journey to success, George, touching on, if you're just starting out and you want to get to 10 million, you know, you want to take that next step. So you need to find somebody that's going to help you take it to that next level, and you keep going through that journey. And you can see Ramzey, as he's describing, you know, he's running a company now, producing hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, but his mentor has taken him to that next step. You know, he's listening, you know, Grubhub, Redbox, you know, so you can see that he's still growing, every one of them growing in their own right, taking it to that next level. So you should be thinking that, and whatever journey you're in, you know, some of you already started, some of you haven't started yet. You need to be thinking about what's that next step, right? So they're telling the success stories, and they're telling you to be mindful. You know, you got to watch the fakes out there. You know, like I said, there's these, you know, Lambo gurus, whatever. People don't know what to believe.
I call them instrapreneurs.
Yeah, right. So you know, in one side, you know, people are flashing things, and that's what gets attention. On the other side, you know, you want to be mindful of it. And with the podcast, I try to do my best to keep people that's real. And here today, you got some real entrepreneurs treating their business like a business, and I just hope that you caught that pattern. That's the mindset that you got to have. So really great stuff, Ramzey, for sure. George, same to you, great stuff. And let's hear Sean tell his story, because I think it's really amazing as well.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. So my name's Sean Kelly. I'm 22 years old right now. I started Jersey Champs when I was a freshman at Rutgers University, so I was 19. And I was failing at the time at a 1.9 GPA. So I really invested a lot of time in this company. And the goal when I started the company was to revolutionize the jersey world. I wanted to kind of shift the focus of sports on jerseys into more like hip hop and culture. And I started like Ramzey with micro influencers. So I'd reach out to like SoundCloud rappers, like YouTubers and stuff like that at first when I wasn't as big. And then I slowly worked my way up to like the A-list celebrities and rappers just through mainly building the Instagram channel, through spending a lot of money on shout-outs, Facebook ads, page mergers, stuff like that. Back in 2016, I spent a lot of money paying pages to like post my jerseys and stuff. So I would pay World Star like $2,500. They would post my jersey. I would get like 10,000 followers. And I would do that like once a week or so. So that's sort of how we built our initial following. We spent a lot on Facebook ads 2016, 2017, last year. And basically, grew Jersey Champs to about 2 million followers. And I realized last year I really had no personal brand. I was very low key. I think I had like 3,000 followers. And then I read Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk, and it totally changed my life. I mean, totally changed my life. I started taking my personal brand serious. I started going on podcasts. I started trying to speak at conferences. I spent money on my personal account to grow followers. I was doing as much as I could to grow there. And since then, that has opened so many doors for me in terms of speaking engagements. I'm now doing a TED Talk. I'm meeting so many cool people. I'm like texting celebrities. It's honestly unreal how much a personal brand helps. So I'd like to stress to also build that on top of whatever brand you guys are currently building right now, because they go hand in hand and you can leverage each in their own ways. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, really powerful stuff. So I mean, Sean, I mean, I would describe him as like an internet celebrity already, and so many people excited about him coming to Chicago here, and it's just been really great. But the power, I mean, you can catch, you know, that branding, and it's so amazing that, you know, even for your own business, whether you're promoting, you know, products or you're promoting your own personal brand, that skill set, like, right? I mean, would you guys agree, like, that's powerful behind it? Everything that you did to build your own business, whether if you were selling some Chinese products or some print on demand or something else, and then that skill set is now open more opportunities. You guys want to talk about that? You can jump in, anybody.
Like skill set in terms of like Facebook ads.
Yeah, that marketing skill set.
Yeah, I mean, I realized last year, so I was doing everything at first with Jersey Champs, like Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, email marketing, customer service. And I realized you gotta double down on what you're good at and just outsource everything else to experts. That's why I hired these guys to run all my digital ads. Because my strength is Instagram, influencers, and networking.
Yeah.
So once I focus on that, the business really grew from there. we were able to get like a lot more influencers. They were able to handle the ads, which I was spending hours on. And I think it's important to outsource to these tasks like customer service, graphic design as early as possible, and get your sourcing on lock. If you're still using AliExpress, I would try to find a sourcing agent, cut down the shipping times.
Wow.
I mean, one new thing that kind of goes a little bit related to kind of what I really like about Print on Demand, which is how do you brand something that you dropship. And so the way I like to do it with like regular products is, what I suggest is just order the packaging, use a shipping agent. So you have manufacturers in China, but then you also have shipping agents in China. Some manufacturers also act as a shipping agent too. But if not, what you do is you buy, let's say, 100 to 200 units of just the packaging for that particular item. So the Chinese people might have, their own brand that they make on AliExpress. But what you do is you say, hey, what are the dimensions for your packaging? And can I order that packaging from you, or just get the dimensions? Then order 100 to 200 of those, just the packaging. And then when someone buys your product, they ship the generic product the manufacturer does to the shipping agent. The shipping agent packages it in that branded package and ships it to the customer. So now you have everything that's beneficial about having a brand, which is the ability to sell at a higher price, the ability to have repeat customers,
Higher perceived value.
everything like that, without the necessary lead times or the additional cost it would take you to now order 100 MOQ or 1,000 minimum order quantity. So.
Like imagine, compare that to how it was like maybe 10 years ago. Your parents or your grandparents to start a business equivalent to what you can do today, they'd have to take a second mortgage or something, right? So
And then when I ran my first batch of T-shirts, I dropped like $10,000. There was nothing. There was this on-demand world didn't really exist. Like the technology and the fulfillment capabilities weren't there yet. So I mean, I think both said awesome things on that. I don't really have much to add to that besides what you said, which was like the skill sets are transferable, I believe.
Yeah.
To what you do. So I think Sean said something really powerful, which is outsource what you're not good at. Like a lot of people get caught up in the tedious things. Like, what am I going to do about customer support? Like, all you should focus on is selling the damn product. It's like sell. By any means necessary, get the first sale. Once you break that past that, whatever your milestone is, if it's the first one order, get the one order. If you've already sold one order, get 100 orders. And really don't focus on all the noise around it. Like, for our brand, we have customer service agents in the Philippines that we pay $3 to $7 an hour. And like, it's basically free. And they're English proficient, and we train them, and we outsource a lot of the tedious tasks that kind of consume your mental capacity, if you will, and focus, like laser focus on what's the most important thing.
Powerful. Yeah, so good stuff. So we're going to shift into the next part. I mean, we wanted to cover each of their journeys so you guys get an understanding where they're coming from, real heavy hitters in the industry, but also to know as a takeaway that, I mean, legitimate business model, and this thing, drop shipping, e-commerce, and this stuff, I mean, it didn't just start with Shopify. It's been around since the beginning of e-commerce and the dot-com boom, and it's a real opportunity. It's evolved to where now the playing field is level. I like to say now, each and every one of you, you don't have to be a techie like me, you don't have to be a designer, but you have access to the same capabilities with a point and click. So now you have access to the same technology that the corporations do. You have access to the same, wholesale prices that the corporations do. And you can now reach hundreds of millions of people, of eyeballs around the world, just like the big corporations do. And you put that all together and you see smashing, and treat it like a business, you see a smashing success story relative to the average person, that's been living their life like a bag blowing through the wind. They focus and have direction, and they're just absolutely killing it. So it's really awesome. So what we want to focus on now is like getting started. Today is the first day of Q4, and if you were to get started, if you were to put something together, so I would say what would you do? I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys already have things cooking, planning for Black Friday and all that. But if you were to get started today, and you know, for the audience, if you were to get started today on a venture or something new, you know, what would you do? What would be your next steps as far as launching something so that you could be ready for Black Friday?
If I was like, nothing, you say like I have zero money, I have nothing. Like
Well, you
right
can have
now,
money,
I'm gonna
you
make my
have-
first dollar.
Yeah, or whatever.
If I
you
had to
have
make my
a little
first
bit
dollar, this is what I would do. I would sign up on Amazon, Etsy, and if you can get on Walmart, these small little, all these marketplaces. I would come up with a couple designs that would work for the holiday season, Halloween stuff, Christmas stuff, and do print-on-demand shirts and accessories. And I would just post as many listings as you can. Because you don't need to spend money on ads. And by the way, like, spending money, and then you gotta learn you gotta learn Shopify, you gotta learn how to run ads, you gotta review customer service, no. I would go on Etsy, make, go on, either go on Fiverr or go on onlinejob.ph and hire Filipino assistants, or they can make you 40 designs for like $40, $50, $60, okay. 40 designs. So what you do is you go on Google, top selling Halloween shirt, top selling, best and ever, best.
Google Trends.
Yeah, Google Trends.
Use Amazon Unicorn Smasher, which is a free Chrome extension, and it allows you to spy on. This is like people charge thousands of dollars to learn simple things like that.
Yeah.
This is literally. Sorry to interrupt. Amazon Unicorn Smasher, and it gives you sales statistics behind different niches. So combine Google Trends with Amazon Unicorn Smasher, and that alone is a great starting point to start seeing what products have a high velocity of sell-through. You can see their monthly revenue statistics, their what else can you see? Everything, the reviews, the product rank, like everything. It gives you literally access to the products, and I think that's.
Listen, you guys gotta come up with your own. This is mine. Okay, so, alright, so step one.
I got one.
Alright, step one.
And this is going to be recorded,
40.
so hopefully you left your email, because we'll share the recording with you guys afterwards.
Alright.
So if you don't, then
This is it. If I was starting
go
at
ahead.
zero, are you gonna make? I would estimate 20 to 30K by the end of the year. If I had zero money, like conservatively 20 to 30.
Profit or revenue?
Profit. 20 to 30K profit by the end.
Just off of third-party marketplaces.
Yeah, third-party market. So sign up Amazon, Etsy, Walmart, all these marketplaces like I don't know, all these.
Redbubble,
Zazzle, pretty much like all those kind of suck. I would primarily probably double down on Etsy, to be honest. Etsy, Amazon, Etsy, Amazon. Then 40 designs. Think of 40 designs. So go and come up with your 40 designs. Already made designs. Hire Fiverr or onlinejobs.ph for Filipino assistant. Recreate those 40 designs. Then find a good POD manufacturer. Sign up on Shopify. Connect that POD manufacturer to Shop. So pretty much you're going to recreate all your 40 designs that you're going to repost on these marketplaces in your Shopify account for your own personal use, and connect the POD onto Shopify, because most of these POD suppliers they're connected to Shopify, so you connect on Shopify with a POD supplier. When an order comes in on Etsy, then you go into Shopify and you order that product for $0, and then it gets shipped out to that person. And then I will focus on ranking it for good keywords on Etsy and on Amazon. And I think Amazon and Etsy are two best bets. I mean, Zazzle, I wouldn't even focus on all those. I mean, there's just so much, there's just no market. So Etsy is amazing, I feel, especially for long sleeve shirts for women. Long sleeve shirts for women, mugs. Just look at like bridal stuff. Look at what's working on Etsy now. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Solid.
$0, that's what I'll do.
All right, that's cool. I think that was a great example. And
Powerful.
I think he's saying that because there's a lot to learn in a short amount of time if you're trying to capitalize on the holiday pop in sales.
It's the best time and the worst time.
So yeah, I mean, advertising, it's more expensive, it's more difficult, more big companies are pouring big budgets. With that being said, I still think there's an opportunity to, we're helping people do this right now. But I do still think there's an opportunity. Like what we teach at Prolific is doing the competitive analysis, understanding, pick a niche. We only sell in niches, by the way. We don't sell like in general stores or anything like that. We like to, pardon my English, but make the niche our bitch in terms of like actually owning the niche. So when I said we have like a memes for Jesus, we have 500,000 followers on Facebook, probably 250,000 on Instagram, and probably 150,000 emails by now or more. And like we chose that niche because after you can do a competitive analysis, which is very easy, there's easy tools to do it, like similarweb.com, that you can start learning about. Let's say you wanted to do a holiday Christmas sweater store, hypothetically speaking. And you go to a POD supplier, there's Printify, there's T-Launch, those are two specific ones that you can use. The company that I sold my platform to is called Everything with Ink. That's also a POD supplier based in Texas that has a Shopify app. And you can literally do the same type of research on Amazon, Unicorn Smasher, and you can look at the top 5 to 10 websites in that niche. And I'm just using this specific niche as an example, holiday Christmas sweaters. You can look at tipsyelves.com. You can look at one of our other sites that we enabled and we've scaled for the past couple of years called 21threads.com. You just basically put a list of 5 to 10 of the biggest sites and you look at their traffic statistics and see where they're strong. You see if they're strong on social. There's tools that give you, hey, they have 20% of their traffic. It tells you their traffic. They have 100,000 visits a month. 20% of their traffic comes from Facebook and Instagram, and the rest comes from Google. And you can start sizing them up and seeing patterns. This is a little more advanced, but you start understanding where there's opportunity, and then you start understanding what products they have on their website, and then cross-reference that with what you found on Amazon, and see which ones are like the hot sellers, and recreate them. Like we use a platform called FreeUp. I don't really use Upwork or Fiverr or anything like that, but we use an e-commerce specific freelancer platform called FreeUp. I can introduce you guys to the founder of the company. It's a really awesome platform. We bill a lot, probably 100 plus hours a week through it. We hire a designer for anywhere from $2 to $5 on average per design. And yeah, that's what we do. And basically, you say, here's what I have, and here's what they have, and you basically reverse engineer what they're doing, and then recreate designs. I like to put like a 10 or 20% deviation, so it's not the exact same thing. But that's one easy way to do it. There's another. In addition to that, if you wanted to do a hybrid store, there's like a US. We don't really do China-based dropshipping and stuff like that. We use a platform called Inventory Source. And they have like US-based, it's just like a US-based supplier directory. And so you can find like holiday products and do like, an 80% POD store, 20% dropship, and find those products on Amazon that are selling, kind of match those with the suppliers. I do think what he said is really smart because there is paid traffic behind this stuff. That is the harder part. But there's influencer marketing that you could look at, like FameBit or a couple open source platforms that allow you to pay an influencer to post your product, and or connect to the third-party marketplaces. Because if you build it in Shopify, you can sync it to Etsy, sync it to Amazon, in addition to running a Google Shopping ad or a Facebook ad. I'm really keen in 2019, especially Q4, on Google Shopping. I think there's a bigger opportunity there for newer people.
Wow, really all of you. So what Ramzey just kind of like, he dropped some real value bombs for sure. A lot of tools, and like I said, you know, this is a part that you actually want to re-listen to over again. So like I said, if we're going to send whoever left their email, we're going to send the recording only to the people who left their email there. I'd say if you didn't, you know, be sure to drop your email because we'll send the recording. But winning products, what he basically described is like finding that market. What's, you know, if there's a market, you want to get in it. If there's a winning market, right? And an analogy is like, if you see Burger King on one side of the street, but who opens up on the other side of the street? McDonald's, right? If you see Lowe's on this side of the street, who opens up on the other side of the street? Home Depot, right? They're tapping into the marketplace. So if you see somebody, he was describing, you know, Christmas sweaters, and
Those do really well, by the way.
Christmas sweaters is opening on this side of the street of the internet. You're going to open up where? Right across on the other side. You're going to tap into that market because it's a market that's selling. So he touched on a lot of tools to show you data. It's data telling you're not guessing.
One mantra we have at Prolific is data over ego. Everything we do is data driven. So when we try to sell a product, we're not really guessing. We're just spying for the most part.
Yeah.
And then doing a better job than they did. And one last point before Sean. All over print is hot, and not many people know how to do it well. It's like a sublimated it's this stuff pretty much, but not on a jersey, on a shirt or sock or raglan or things like that. It's not just shirts, by the way. Print on demand, there's literally 2,000 SKUs you can sell. So
Awesome, brother. Yeah, really good stuff, Ramzey.
Yeah, man, if I was starting on now, I mean, I pretty much started with about $1,000 in 2016, but it was a lot cheaper to start that. But basically, I would put the jersey up for pre-order for 2 weeks. So that gave me 2 weeks to get sales because I didn't have the money to just order 100 units up front and then pray that they sell. So I'd put them up on pre-order for 2 weeks, and then however many were ordered, I would just order to my mom's basement and then ship them from there. And slowly and steadily, I was able to build that up to like $10,000 and just kept releasing more and more designs. So I think the pre-order model's solid. I think Unicorn Smasher is solid because you already know they're proven winners. And then what you can do from there is you could go on Alibaba or contact a sourcing agent and see if you could get the product for a cheap enough price where you can beat that current seller. Because you already know that product's selling, so all you have to do is beat their price, and eventually Google SEO will outrank them if you just keep selling more than them. So I would do that, and I would do Etsy. Etsy, I've done hundreds of sales, but we got kicked off there because they don't like international shipping, like jerseys and stuff. So they don't, I know POD's fine. So I would do Etsy, Unicorn Smasher, pre-order model is solid if you don't have money. And then eventually just try to learn paid media. If you're not good at it, just hire an agency or something to handle that for you. If the product is good enough, it will always sell. So
That's really good stuff. So, I mean, he touched on a lot of great value there. And actually how he started his business, which is really awesome. And we got about 10 minutes before we prepare for, we got a virtual panel, if you guys didn't know. So we got Jordan Welsh, we got Kevin Zhang and Joe Staver that are going to be jumping online. We're going to stream them here, and they're going to be chiming in as well virtually. So we're going to get that started in about 10 minutes. But one of the things that I think we can touch on in the meantime, which is what we just talked about, you know, they just dove into like how you can get started, winning products, that sort of thing. But another thing is testing. You gotta have that mindset of testing. You know, that very first one that you tried may not work out. You know, maybe you did analyze the data, but it's a probability, and you need to keep plugging away to figure it out. And there's far too many people that, you know, they say, oh, it didn't work for me. Well, how many products did you test? 3. So maybe talk about the mindset of testing. You know, how much did you guys have to test and, you know, to really push forward, to really find that winner?
sequential order.
I mean, I've tried a lot of different things. I feel like the more I've progressed along my journey, I try less and less, which is a good thing but a bad thing because now I don't have the mindset I think I used to have, which was like, it doesn't matter if I fail. Now I have the more mindset of like, every little decision I make, I start thinking of like 30 different decisions like, that will manifest because of that. And then I kind of get sometimes in this like, well, you know, I can do all these routes, but I'm trying to find the perfect route before I go on this journey. Instead of just saying, I wish I had the mindset that you guys like, it doesn't fucking matter, I just keep trying. Which is, yeah, keep trying until you hit your first winner because you don't have anything to, and the fun part is the trying part. The fun part is having the mindset of like, it doesn't matter if it fails or doesn't fail. To protect myself of like, that I wasn't as successful as the previous thing I did before. Like, you haven't had any big success, so you don't have to feel the need to like, not fail, if that makes sense. So, fail a lot, fail as much as you can. I mean, try as much as you can, but as soon as you start making proper like successes, then try to follow on that path. Don't be like, well, I had a success, I'm gonna go try all these other things. Just like, now that I've started learning golf for the first time. Well, I tried a lot of different things, but as soon as I hit a good shot, then I say, okay, I'm gonna try to hit only that shot, like that exact shot. I'm not gonna try to like hit a random shot again. So the more and more I got like successful, the more and more I started trying less things. And trying, so try a lot of things, but as soon as you get your success, double down on it. So try, spray, you hit it, double down. You spray, oh, mugs are working for me on Etsy, double down. You know, like spray and then you hit something and just follow that path because right now you have nothing to lose. You're not successful yet. You don't need to protect yourself from like, well, yeah, I know I'm gonna be successful in this, but then it's not gonna be as successful as this route. You know, you don't have to worry about that. You just have to hit something and go fail forward. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, I'm getting messages from Kevin and Joe, and yeah, they're jumping online. So we got about a few minutes. Do you want to take one more question or two to touch on testing, and then
Yeah, we'll take one more.
Okay.
You run a marketing agency, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so what's the capital minimum, you know, like that for dealing with another business, taking on the client?
Nick can answer that.
We usually don't work with anybody that's doing under $1 million.
So we have an academy, or sorry, an agency business where we work with companies that are doing typically 7 figures to 100 million a year. So 1 to 100. That's like our sweet spot because we're I wouldn't say perfectionists, but we're really good at scaling companies that have existing traction. But we also have like an academy program where it's like one-on-one mentorship and stuff like that for more new people that kind of take you through our trials and core competencies of what we do, but more impactful in like a mini acceleration period. To answer your question, there's some brands that start with $500, you know, to run Facebook ads or Google ads. Do I think that's enough? No. You know, I think one rule of thumb that we have is you can have, you know, $50 to $200 a day, but have the right product market fit, and you have that down first based on data and actually understanding what's selling. I think you'll be in a better position to actually, you know, make those ad dollars, precious ad dollars to start go the furthest way.
Would you scale this on only niche related businesses or like any business in general?
One more time.
Would you like scale like that, like marketing on niche related business or like any business in general?
So our agency works with, you know, direct to consumer e-commerce companies that sell fashion and jewelries and accessories and a lot of other verticals and products. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily niche. One thing that we've found success in is the female customer. So our primary target when we look at a brand is, do they have female buyers? You know, we like seeing female buyers in the age of 24 to 55 with excess income, typically that are married or, you know, have somewhat of a basis to spend a little bit on shit that they don't really need, honestly. There's a lot of the stuff that we do and a lot of stuff that e-commerce sellers do. Some of it can be considered a necessity, but the majority of it really, you know, you're not going to die without buying the product, you know? So you know, it's more of that impulse purchase and things like that. But I'd say that's like a good core demographic to get started in nowadays.
Really good question. Let me give a shout out to Pablo because I think his story is really awesome. You know, he came to his first event last week and he's 16 years old. 16 years old, messaged about, you know, wanting to come to the e-commerce event, having to miss, you know, some things with school, soccer, things like that, plead with his parents, because his parents, you know, think this e-commerce stuff is all a get-rich-quick scheme, you know, all these things, and I told him that, you know, I'll talk to your parents and, you know, things like that. But he came last week and I said, come to the meeting on Thursday because last week we had Ryan Matthews and Hayden Ditto. Ryan started high-ticket dropshipping sales when he was 16. And he just recently turned 18. You know, now he's doing print on demand. He's more excited about print on demand. But long story short, him and his partner, and they have their own D-Rock, flew in Thursday last week to run an event. Pablo had a chance to connect with them, but he's a rising superstar. I asked a really good question here, and I think it's just really awesome. So we're gonna get ready for the virtual event. I say get yourself a drink or something like that in the meantime, and then we'll come back and gather, and we'll get the rest of the crew on board. All right? So we'll just take a quick break. Give about 5 minutes for sure, because they're already online.